harmed by this individual who obviously committed a tragic, heinous crime last night in the city of Charleston. Mayor?
First of all, I want to publicly commend Chief Mullen and the men and women of our police department. We understand that public safety is the first responsibility of government. We invest substantially in the resources and the quality of the men and women who work for our police department, and under Chief Mullen, there is not a better led police department in our country. As Chief Mullen said, we've had extraordinary cooperation from other law enforcement professionals, and when you have a chance to work on a difficult matter and see the skills and the commitment of people who have dedicated their lives to law enforcement, it is so inspirational. And because of all of that work, this very important news today is announced that that awful person, that terrible human being who would go into a place of worship when people were praying and kill them, is now in custody, where he will always remain. It's important for everyone wounded by this act, which are the church family members, the community members, and the people of America. For in this great country, we hold sacred the places where people come and practice their faith in safety and in peace. So the arrest of this awful man is an important part for all of us in this community and in our country to begin the necessary process of our healing together. Governor Haley is here, and she'll speak in a minute, and I want to thank the governor for coming down to Charleston and the support we've had from state law enforcement division, from the other, as I mentioned, other law enforcement agencies, and the FBI and the ATF, the county has been extraordinary. Thank you, Governor Haley, for your presence and interest and support. I also want to announce that I received a personal call from Vice President Biden. He knew Senator and Reverend Pinckney and was familiar with the Emmanuel AME Church and Morris Brown, where we'll be in just a few minutes. And he himself, we all know, has had a tragically sad time, and he expressed heartfelt grief and offers of support. Then I received a call from President Obama personally that conveyed his sympathy and for the citizens of America to let us know that they were with us, and his offer to make any federal resources available. I told the President that the FBI, the ATF, and the federal resources and the Justice Department have been extraordinary. A part of this healing process, we all need to help. So we have created the Mother Emmanuel Hope Fund. Started with a $5,000 contribution from the city of Charleston. And the Mother Emmanuel Hope Fund will be a vehicle for citizens in our community and around the country that want to do something to help, to contribute to that fund. Obviously, the wounds of the church and all those who were killed and all the expenses of the funerals and all the loss and families and so much more, what we have the opportunity to help them. And when we help them, we also help their hearts, because we all know when we're grieving that hug or that sign of love or support is a very important part of renourishing our soul and the whole souls who are injured. So people can drop checks off at Wells Fargo, Also, you can mail checks to Box 304, Charleston 29402. We'll get this out. So we have a way that we all can help right away, right? But not 24 hours even after this dastardly event, that the citizens in our community, in our country, can help and positively respond. And then tomorrow evening, and we'll announce the time, there will be a community prayer vigil at the College of Charleston Arena, which is not but a block and a half from Mother Emanuel. So we'll have a chance to come together in prayer and to mourn the losses and to come together as a community. The time of that event tomorrow evening will be announced soon, and we'll be getting that out into the media. And I thank everyone who's here, and as Chief Mullen said, the media, because we are able to arrest this awful person in Shelby, North Carolina, because we got the word out. And it's a good sign, wonderful sign, that in America, you know, we don't let bad people like this get away with these dastardly deeds. Thank you. Governor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to certainly thank the mayor for he's always had great leadership, but during times of struggle, he steps up even more, continues to make Charleston proud, and I continue to appreciate your friendship and your partnership. I want to personally thank Bishop Norris with the AME Church family. I spoke with him this morning, and even though he is in recovery, he very much is in prayer and in leadership in the fact that he has asked that we all come together for a prayer vigil today at noon, and so you will see all of us go to do that. But you know, we woke up today and the heart and soul of South Carolina was broken. And so we have some grieving too. And we've got some pain we have to go through. Parents are having to explain to their kids how they can go to church and feel safe. And that's not something we ever thought we'd deal with. Having said that, we are a strong and faithful state. We love our state, we love our country, and most importantly, we love each other. And I will tell you, there's a lot of prayer in this state. And so you are going to see all of us try and lift these 9 families up in prayer because they need us. These 9 families need us. The Emmanuel AME Church needs us. The AME Church family needs us. And the people of South Carolina need us to come together and be strong for what has happened. I want you to know the outpouring of emotion from across this country has been overwhelming. From presidential candidates to citizens who've just traveled through the state, to any person in any walk of life. Every single person has had to put their feet in the shoes of one of those 9 families today. And they all know what that felt like. And so with that, where do we go from here? We allow ourselves to grieve. We allow ourselves to pray. We allow ourselves to question why this happens. And then we allow ourselves to heal. And so the healing process will start. We are so thankful to Chief Mullen and his team at law enforcement, with FLED, with FBI, with everybody that came together that refused to allow this to happen. I have never seen, when we were going through the command center, such passion and personal willingness to want to make sure they brought this person home. And so I want to personally thank the law enforcement community, because you have now allowed us to start healing. And we can now tell our children that that person is in custody. And we can now not only lift up our law enforcement community who hasn't slept since this happened, but thank them and give them the credit they deserve, and the courage that they deserve. But I want to remind everybody, South Carolina has stepped up today in a way that continues to make me proud. We are seeing love, we're seeing prayers, we're seeing support, we're seeing humility. And for that, I want to tell you that I'm thankful. We will continue to be on standby for all of the people, all of the leaders that you see here behind us are willing to do anything and everything for the families in need and for the church in need. But for that, I will tell you, it is a very, very sad day in South Carolina. But it is a day that we will get through, it is a day that we will remember, and it is a day that will allow us to get stronger. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a few questions starting from the right.
You said the suspect was apprehended after a traffic stop. Was the traffic stop initiated because he knew his license stopped him, or was he stopped for some other reason?
He was stopped because a citizen alerted law enforcement to a suspicious activity, and law enforcement went out and they knew that once they arrived there that it was the individual that we were looking for.
North Carolina highway patrol?
Right here.
Was he cooperative during the arrest?
He was cooperative.
Did he
Were
confess
any
to
weapons found in the vehicle when he was apprehended?
Excuse me?
Were any weapons found in the
We're not going to talk about that right now. Thank you.
Did the suspect say anything when he was arrested and he was repeated?
We're not going to talk about that right now either.
Can you tell us if he traveled through Charlotte on his way here and actually stopped at an ATM?
No, ma'am. We're not going to talk about any aspects of the investigation that is still ongoing. There's still a lot of things happening, and we've got to make sure that we follow all of those processes. So we just can't talk about those details right now.
What was his demeanor?
He was cooperative with the officer who stopped him.
Do you believe that he acted alone?
I do. Yes. We don't have any reason to believe there was anybody else involved.
What was his suspicious activity?
The citizen just saw a vehicle that they felt like was suspicious, and they did exactly what we asked citizens to do. They called the police. We went out and checked it out, and as a result of that, we were able to make this apprehension. Yes, ma'am.
The family's obviously want very much to know why, and I know it's early in the investigation, but do you have any indication how someone goes from 2 minor arrests to what is allegedly one of the worst mass killings in state history?
Right. Well, that'll be part of what we do when our investigators get there and begin their interviews with him. We'll try to figure that out. That we have to go through to get him back here, so we'll be working that very diligently with not only SLED but the FBI along with our detectives. He was in the vehicle when he was approached by law enforcement. Paul? Shelby, North Carolina Police Department.
Any reason to believe he has ties to Shelby, North Carolina?
Not that I'm aware of at this point.
That's about 250 miles from here, overstate last week. Do you know how he got so far away?
Well, he drove. I mean, it's not that far. He could drive. There was a number of hours in between what happened here and where. I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, we were obviously.
It's an interstate highway, going up. It's not through city.
Can you give us any information about how the day unfolded? Well, really the night into the day unfolded. How many leads you got? What kind of things happened over the course of the day that finally led to the arrest?
Sure, I'll give you a brief overview of that because there was a lot of moving parts. I mean, basically, the initial response was tremendous from all of our partners. We had people from various agencies that were here almost immediately. As I was driving to the scene from my home, I was talking to Chief Keel and the FBI in terms of their willingness to get involved. So by the time we all converged on the scene, we immediately started to partner. There was resources that were brought to bear. We were able to get up the 1-800 number very quickly. And once we got the surveillance photos out, and then we got the 1-800 number up, we started to receive tips, and that was what led us to the ability to identify the individual and make this arrest. Yes, sir.
Time of arrest?
I don't know the exact time. It was probably about 35 minutes ago. I'm not sure exactly what time it was, but I can get you that information.
Chief, has he made any admission?
We're not going to talk about that today. One more.
Was this the first tip that you guys got at his location, first caller calling in?
We had a number of tips that were coming in, and everybody was following those tips. Every lead that came in, I mean, it was amazing the fact that we had teams that were standing by. They were almost, they were wired to go. And whenever we got a lead in, we sent out teams of SLED agents, of CPD officers, of FBI agents to run those down. We had agents in other parts of the country. We had agents on their way here from other parts of the country to aid us. So it was a tremendous effort, and really, with the team that we had working with us and the team that we had in the community, it was a tremendous push forward to make this a successful case. And now what we have to do is continue on to make it a successful prosecution. Thank you very much. That's all we're going to do right now. Thank you.